Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings and Cardboard Podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies slash co-hosts, Noah and Thomas. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings in Cardboard. Guys, how have things been since the last time we talked?
Great.
That's
Fantastic.
that struggle from last week caused me to get a cold. Whenever I don't sleep, I get sick.
It was a good struggle.
I won Armory Friday, so.
Nice. Oh, yeah. I was there. I got slaughtered. That's right.
And then on Sunday, me and Noah got a rematch, and he beat me. It was a really close game. I conceded and said if I had done something different, let me see how it would have gone, and still couldn't quite get there. He went fatigue against me after he's gone aggro like 5 times in a row. It should have. I guess that's on me though, right? Like to expect him to just not change after losing 80% of the games.
I was like, we got to test this out. So one of these games, I'm just gonna fatigue, and I set my courage aside, and I put Tunic out, and I'm just like, let's play Tunic. I even hid the little Tunic counter. I was like, hide that over there. Wait.
And you should definitely not give any hint to your opponent what armor you're putting out. It could be the difference between winning and losing. And then
for sure.
I accidentally made someone at primetime maybe quit Fab.
No.
To be fair, he's already on the fence. That area, they don't have the greatest scene because whenever there's lots of events going on, they don't have anyone going because they haven't been hosting that many events. And so he's playing Dromai and I'm playing Dash.io, and it's already not a good matchup. And he just sees this brand new hero, and I'm like, if you haven't seen this hero, things are just going to start happening, and tell me if you need me to explain anything. And boy, howdy, did things start happening. I think I swung for like an average of 20 damage a turn for the entire game, and he played one dragon and then spent the rest of the game blocking. And then I finished him off with a throttle, caught him with no blocks in hands, and blew up 3 red boom grenades in 1 turn.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it was a throttle for 18. Sorry. It's not a favored matchup. I think it's a really unfavored matchup for Dromai. And I told him, man, Dromai's not the best she's going to be. You should play her. Have fun. He's like, I don't travel. And it's the best time to get out of the deck if I'm going to get out of it because she's going to living legend. That's true.
I mean, yeah.
Well, he's right about that.
I guess we'll get to that here shortly. For our listeners, this is going to be our very first episode where we go over our first tier list. We're going to talk about the world's meta in the main topic of the pod. We're going to get there eventually, but we're going to get through some of the news and notes of everything that's going on here lately. Tuesday, let's see, what happened last Tuesday? Did I go 3-0 on Tuesday? Was that this week or was that last week?
I wasn't there. I was
last
teaching.
Week.
I don't remember. And then on Friday, I got absolutely wrecked by everybody in the room again. Oh, yeah, it was on Tuesday. I went 3-0, and then Friday I went 0-3, because that's how Katsu rolls. So it is what it is.
But you have your Coldwell Symbiosis shot.
No, I didn't. I traded it.
Oh, you traded it immediately?
Yeah.
Who got that? That's crazy.
Oh, that's to Noah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you got yours.
I got another one.
I'm gonna try to get one back. I wouldn't mind having one just to have in the binder.
Good news. I got another one. So I didn't think I was gonna win any armories. But lo and behold, apparently I could still win.
I think I was technically your final boss. Your other 2 matchups were actually pretty favored, even though we were.
Vince said is a great matchup for Dory. I hate using the word favored because I feel like the interaction between those 2 decks is great. The problem is that
how many blues do you run, man?
23.
Dude, you can't lose that matchup. Your whole deck blocks. It's so hard to lose.
It is hard to lose, especially he's on a pummelist list too, which I didn't know. It also helps when you start the game with a dominated supremacy turn that asks for 8 off the rip. So he took 8 damage or 7 damage. Did not give me the counter, but he still took 7 for it, and I know he did take the counter. I don't know. It was a rough start. We talked about it afterwards, whether he should have used armor at the beginning of it. And I was like, but like, he's like, that just feels so bad. And I was like,
I'm sorry to be hard on Vincent, but we need to be hard on her so she gets better cards. I like me playing Chain. I've actually kind of fallen in love with Runeblade, and I do plan on playing Vincent in some way. I really like Runeblade a lot.
It's a very fun class. Just unfortunately, their time is not now. Maybe someday, hopefully someday, but
yeah, she'll be good. They got to be careful though. She's got great turns. She's got great numbers. She definitely is fatigable. It's part of the design flaw.
She needs a better offhand. I think a really good offhand that helps her with her consistency, or give her a better main hand weapon. But we'll see.
She just needs more consistent runechant generation. I mean, just something that's better than the Jack-o'-lantern or the Skyfire lanterns. Something like that comes out. Something a little better than that comes out, and Vincent's probably gonna jump up a couple of tiers. But
I think even the Jack-o'-lanterns are hard to use because you kind of have to build your deck around them, right? Like maybe you could kind of do this red line-ish thing where you hoping the red ones will hit, but then are you really low on pitch? Seems hard.
I mean, when Dusk Till Dawn was first coming out, everybody was trying to do the red line thing because everybody thought is the new chain. Vincent is the new chain, but eventually, I think everyone kind of settled into the pummel plan. But I don't know. It might be worth exploring again. I mean, we've got a new card. Maybe the Skyfire lanterns and the Jack-o'-lantern is the way. We'll see. But
kind of hope the Jack-o'-lanterns are not, just so I don't have to buy them if I do choose Runeblade. They're going to probably stay kind of pricey.
Are they
pricey?
They're like
hard to get.
$6 a piece.
That's not too bad.
Not that bad. But speaking of pricey though, let's jump into our market minute because we have a long segment after that.
Yeah, let's get right into the market segment. I could talk about the rising and falling Met cards, but I think some of those are pretty self-explanatory. Some of those prices have cooled off.
What everybody
We're going to talk about other things. We're going to talk about other prices that haven't cooled off. Let's start with a weird one first. We haven't talked about this card in a hot minute. Probably never at all, actually, but it makes sense. Premeditate. That's right.
Even I was we've never talked about that card.
No, we haven't talked about.
I mean, it's because it came out in Outsiders, like, so it's just before we started doing this. But it's always been considered a really great card. It's not even a Ranger only card.
No, it's not a Ranger only card. It's a +3. There's probably a lot of reasons this card could be going up. People have taken a fancy to Riptide. It's another type of a Ranger that uses it. Azalea's been up in stocks. Like we said, it's not even really a Ranger card, so anybody can use it. But it's trending upwards. I'm not going to say we're breaking the bank with this card, but realistically, this thing was $10 back at the beginning of October, 15 maybe at the most. And they're surging up to about 24, 25 now, which is pretty good actually. So
that's actually a lot.
The last time I thought about Premeditate was back around when Outsiders was first out, and it was like a $40 card back then.
It was so because it had a lot of like all the Rangers, right? The speculation was high. Everybody trying out things. Obviously, we know who won that. Just to
clarify for audio listeners, Premeditate is a 0-cost red card that says the next attack from your arsenal gets +3. And then if you hit with an attack this turn, any attack, you get a Ponder token. So that's why it's so good for Rangers, right? They could just empty everything out, they get a Ponder token, and get to re-arsenal.
It's a really good card. Only blocks for 2 because it has to. Otherwise, it would be bonkers broken.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep an eye on that. I have a feeling it's gonna go up a little higher if one of the decks decide to win with it. It seems like it has that type of playability. This next card though shouldn't have any surprise. I just wanted to track it again because it has gone up. And that's Warmonger's Diplomacy. That's right. Who would have thought? Whoa, not that card.
This
really?
Has to be the pre-world surge for War Dip.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. I would assume that it has something to do with that. I would also have something to do with the fact that it's a really good card. It just has great play into the majority of the meta that you're going to see. I think it disrupts quite a few of the top tier decks. We could talk about that later though, but you're looking at $50 $50 for your non-foil warmongers. In fact, there are only 3 non-foil warmongers. You got a couple of lightly playeds at 50 and 1 near mint at 50, and so you're looking at $50 right now.
Yes, that's to be expected for such a universally playable generic.
You got anything else for us, Noah?
Yeah, yes. So obviously, Warmongers, great card. It's gotten to the point where it doesn't matter. It's $7 off the foil. We're at that time again. So your foil Warmongers don't mean a whole lot. $50 for the base. I want to keep touching on it because Mask of Momentum is solidly at $90 right now. Solidly at 90. I think we've talked about this before, but I just want to reiterate that card, I picked it up for maybe not more than a month ago. We're talking down in the 70s and 65, and Ninjas have caught on again. I think this card still goes up. Ninja is going to have a meta here. When things pick up and go fast. I think Ninja's going to have a meta.
We'll get into that.
I think Ninja's going to have
we might have a little bit of fight on where these guys end up on the tier list.
I think Ninja's going to have a meta. Don't sell them short just yet.
I just don't think it's this one.
Well, the way that the LL's coming up, it'll be one real soon. So every Monday could be Ninja meta.
We may need more time for the tier list than I thought.
No. That's fine. And then the last thing is tectonic plating. Bravo's gone up in shares. There should be no surprise. Yeah. I've actually been looking at this card, feeling really sad. I picked up quite a few of them myself. It's not a super high bump. Don't go crazy now, but it's up to about $40, and you could get this card any day at about 30 or below.
Is tectonic legendary or majestic?
Legendary. And so we're specifically looking at the WTR ones right now. So you're looking at near mint $40, which is, they were comfortably selling less than a week ago for 30. Feels pretty good to get $10 out of nowhere. I don't think Bravo ever gets so many shares where that card goes crazy, because I just don't think it's a hero that attracts a lot of.
What?
I don't know. You know what I mean?
He's either the second or first most represented hero in some of these tournaments.
For some reason, though, I don't know.
I just think it maybe
see Bravo becoming 50 shares like Dromai or Lexi. I just don't see it.
It could just be that most of the Bravo players have been longtime Guardian stands, and they have their tectonics, and so they're not selling like hotcakes.
It could be that too. But either way, those are my market moments for this week. We'll check back in with the Met craze and stuff later on, but all that stuff is toned down for sure. So no more $80 twin drives.
All right, so on to the news then, right?
Well, I guess related to the market minute in the news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Fab Slabs, real quick.
Fab Slabs.
I like graded cards. It's good stuff. In fact, I was telling Donnie about this before I even started recording, that when I was doing research on Flake. I was doing the deep dive before we had him on, and I was watching one of his episodes where he was talking about the whole Fab Slab creation, and they were going to let him go and get a card graded at Worlds so he could see the process. And I knew that they were going to unveil these Fab Slabs at Worlds. That this was going to be part of the branding of Rudy taking over PCG in America. For those you don't know, Rudy from Alpha Investments is big into card games and stuff like that. So this is kind of right up his alley. And so this is PCG's way of trying to get into the American market against BGS and who's the other one? I can't think of it. PSA. And so it's really big. It's a huge opportunity, and I know they look great. My thing is the ability to put them into a normal deck box while still having them have that graded status is actually one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
That's what I need to know. What's the thickness? Are you able to fit like 6 of them in your deck box and still fit your 80 cards? Or I guess maybe your 75 cards?
I couldn't tell you if they look about as thick as those ones that you would see, those mini snaps. And so I had with they were double sleeved. These are perfect hearts. So actually there's a lot of air. I still got, I want to say five of those, maybe even six of those mini snaps in my deck with the full 80 cards. And it was a tight fit on double sleeved perfect hearts, but it was still good. I would assume if you're not using perfect hearts, you could get 6 in for sure. because
I'm looking
did
forward
this
to
test.
it too. Makes me want to actually go like kind of try to max rarity my equipment set. Too bad that Tekla
for
Foundry
sure
Hearts be really expensive.
Look at that.
I'm going to look into regrading one of them is done through PCG and see if I can get it into a Fab Snap, and the other one I would look to regrade it anyway and then see if I could put it into
Heck yeah.
a Fab. I want to lug my stuff around, but like I have to carry those the Courage and the Dory like separately. It just, I don't know. It's a nightmare.
It'll just feel so good having your like graded cards in that 144 plus deck box, right?
One deck box. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, and trust me, I would go rush and get my bolters in my Brave Forge. Like I'm already sitting here thinking about it. I'm excited. I want to get it all graded. Hey, we need a warrior headpiece that doesn't suck LSS. A really, really nice one so I can get that graded too.
I mean, Crown of Providence doesn't suck.
Warrior.
Arcanite Skullcap doesn't suck.
Warrior specific.
Why has it got to be warrior specific?
Because I want Dorinthia to have a really, really rockin' helm to match all that other sweet cold foil. Like she's got everything cold foil.
Just play Bolton.
No, that's cheating.
I'm gonna suggest it like almost every podcast. I feel like
that's cheat. I'm an Icelander main.
Dude, Raiden is sweet. Raiden is a sweet weapon.
I use Waning Moon.
Plus, the card pool is so much bigger.
All right. Some other news that we have is Flesh and Blood is now an acceptable category on Twitch.tv.
About damn time.
I wonder what changed. We literally Flesh and Blood was listed on Twitch's GitHub as a non-applicable category. Like specifically it said Flesh and Blood is an example of things that can't be on Twitch as categories. Because they didn't have an online client, but nothing has changed.
I don't know. Maybe Talishar somehow squeaked in with a gray area, or they.
I wonder if LSS literally said, "Hey, we really want this category on Twitch. We're acknowledging that Talishar is okay. Can you acknowledge Talishar as being a video game enough to let it be a category?"
It is kind of weird that all of a sudden now it's
I don't know what changed, but they advertised it. They posted it everywhere. I saw it on pretty much every platform multiple times.
It might be
whatever it was. I'll take it.
Talishars are making a lot of updates. Who knows? They might be getting a little bit more backing from LSS. I don't know.
Oh no.
We'll see.
No.
And then we had Battle Hardened Pittsburgh this past weekend.
Yep, we did.
I feel like it's a pretty big Battle Hardened, right? 115 players is nice.
115 players, not bad. Not bad.
That's pretty good for Battle Hardened.
This is the last.
It's about the same size as the one here in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
And looking at like the venue and stuff, it looked very similar. And I think even close to the same PTI size, right? Because PTI is always smaller because you got people traveling out and stuff and can't stay. I think PTI was only 66 players.
55, I think. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
But these are the last two events before Worlds this weekend. And Icelander took it, but that's not enough to give her the living legend status to exempt her from Worlds. How wild would that have been to shake the meta up? Literally, like, there are people already in Barcelona. That
you would have seen a lot of people. I think you would have seen a lot of happy people. I'm gonna be real. Like, you got to understand that Icelander has such a real threat. She is. No, I think she's totally healthy for it. The problem
it doesn't matter if she's healthy or not. She's on the way out.
Yeah, she's leaving.
Eventually. But oh yeah,
I think she's a contender for Worlds.
972. She's at 972, so
she's 100% a contender.
So we were just talking about Bravo. Bravo was the most played hero in the Battle Hardened Pittsburgh.
People are splashing around. You got to understand, and this
people
is
are on the Bravo
tier list.
People
are on the. I just looked at Twitter. This is the next hot.
No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. Bravo is such a brutal deck to play. The games are so long. It's so unforgiving when you make mistakes that I don't see people saying this is like the flavor of the month. Let's play Bravo. Nah, it's a tough deck.
It's not, and that's why you're not going to see a heaping shares like you will of other decks come Worlds. Bravo will be well represented, but he will not be the most played deck at Worlds.
Imagine playing with like a 400 IQ, but not winning because you're not playing Oldhim instead.
Yeah, but man, Ultim was propped up by Crown of Seeds. We don't have enough time to talk about how that was. Okay.
But the composition of top 8 was 2 Bravos. And I think Bravo did pretty well throughout the whole tournament. Only 1 Dromai, 2 Reinars, 1 Dash Inventor Extraordinaire, 1 Dash IO, and 1 Icelander. And the finals were the Dash Inventor Extraordinaire versus the Icelander, and it was a close match. I think the previous match, the Dromai versus Dash, was a close match. So Rose, her name is Rose, and she came in with a pretty unique take on, I think, the defensive dash. Very Tree Froggy, but missing the like springboard somersault that gives Tree Frog its name. But still managed to crack off some amazing comebacks. And she looked just set to win the finals. I'm watching the finals. I'm like, I could have almost turned the stream off. I was so sure she was going to win at one point. And then the Icelander just drug it back in. Skillful play. And he said in the interview afterwards that he's like, he plays out the Insidious Chill, and he's just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do against this deck, and I feel like I'm throwing. And I don't know. He must have just went alpha mode all of a sudden and said, I'm going to play all of the right plays and come in with exact lethal right when it counts.
That's nice. That's Icelander.
It was an exhilarating last match.
I'll have to go back and watch it because, like I said, I missed that one.
Nice meta though. Feels fresh.
Yeah, the fact that Reinar is meta is very interesting.
I mean, it was surprising that there were so many Reinars in Pittsburgh, but Dex, one of the Reinars that was in top 8, actually said on Twitter that people should not get all that excited about the new meta because he said Pittsburgh was the Savage Lands. There's a whole bunch of Reinars out there, so that's nothing to write home about. But
I mean, maybe, still someone from the Wolfpack
trying to hide the secret sauce.
Michael Funk showed up and did really well on Reinar. He was one of the top 8s. If he shows up with a deck, that means either he had some really good read on the local meta, or that's like a hero you should really be watching out for in the current meta overall.
Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment.
Speaking of meta, do we want to jump into our tier list?
I do want to mention one more thing before we jump in. LSS posted a few days ago about everybody getting a chance to win a sigil promo from Worlds. If you are interested in entering for a chance to win the Worlds sigil promo, during the World Championship weekend, someday on the 17th, 18th, or 19th, go to your local game store, take a picture of yourself and name the store. State why you love your LGS in a post on Twitter, and with your pick, tag @FabTCG, and then watch your inbox and watch FabTCG on Twitter, because that's where they're going to announce the winner of the World Sigil promo. So I will definitely be doing that. I suggest you do too. Everybody's got a fair shot, right?
Yep.
So you're telling me is I gotta go
there's
run
a
around.
Chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
I gotta go run around screaming my LGS. No, I will. There's always a chance. This sounds like a good thing.
Yep, I'm good. I'm good to move on. That's all I wanted to cover.
All right, let's go. All right. So here we go. Can you guys see the list still?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good to go.
All right, we already got a couple living legends. They're here. They're honorary members of the Flesh and Blood community forever. This one will join soon. Good old Icelander. Let's first start out with, where does she go? I think
she's definitely up top.
I think she is the meta.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This isn't S tier. Hold on. This isn't S tier, because we're not doing an S tier. Doing S tier and Flesh and Blood only makes sense when we throw Lexi at the top and put everyone below her. What we're doing is what we think the world's meta will be, and what decks are great into that meta, not so great into that meta, and can be surprising into that meta, and are basically just trolling people. That's our 4 tiers. And I think Icelander is clearly going to be the meta, even if she is very underrepresented, because you can't show up with a deck box that doesn't have answers for Icelander. You're going to get to top 8 and just lose. So if you're trying to win, if you even get to top 8, there's an Icelander top 8 and you're not ready for her, you're going to lose. So the people who are really trying to win are going to have some answers for Icelander.
All right. Well, when you put the explanation like that on the meta, sure, I'll take it, because I was definitely going to be mildly underrepresented in terms of numbers. There's just not enough people that I don't think there's enough people that can physically play that deck. I'm going to be real.
I think she's just too difficult to play. You're right.
But the ones that play it well,
takes a specialist. Yeah, it takes a specialist to take that hero all the way. But there's been enough of them to where she is at 972. She's really close.
I mean, Michael Hamilton.
The last event we see.
Michael Hamilton could say, "Hey, I don't want to skip her on possibly her last event." So he might show up with his classic Bullender. I mean, that deck list is still pretty good.
That would be cool. That would be cool if Michael Hamilton showed up with Icelander 2 years in a row, took back-to-back world championships.
That would be so cool. All right, who else do we think is in the meta?
Bravo.
Yep, Bravo is clearly going to be in the meta, even if he has his challenges and he can have difficulty converting. You see so many players play him and still doesn't always have the best success. I think he's a very challenging hero. You have to be ready for those big slugfest hits. Like,
Bravo is one of the easiest heroes in the game to pilot at a basic level, but he is he requires a lot of skill to pilot at the highest level.
Yep.
The people in Worlds are going to be piloting, if they've chosen Bravo, they are at the highest level. They're not going to bring a scrub deck to the World Championships. If you're invited and you're trying to go, you're trying to win. So Bravo is a great choice for people that are specialists, people that are ready for the metagame.
And we can't talk about meta at all without Throw My Ash Artist, right?
Fair. For sure.
Again, she's another one of those heroes that if you don't have a game plan, you just kind of get just absolutely flattened. A lot of her weaknesses going into like aggro and stuff have been completely covered up by Tome.
Yep.
But those also created some weaknesses by putting more non-blocks into her deck. So, and she just doesn't have as many blues. Even though it's pseudo blue, it doesn't give you AB when you need it when you're playing against Icelander. So Dromai's got to think about how she deals into disruption from Icelander and stuff too.
Now, is there one more that we think is going to have a large portion of the meta?
So, like, there's arguments for a lot of heroes, right? But are they what people are building around? Because if we looked at, so let's just pick a hero that we know has been performing well and decide where they're going to be. So let's just pick who got second in the Battle Hard. Dash. Where does Dash go?
I mean, that's where I like the tier lists get a little weird, right? Because then we have like the meta, right? She's going to be even probably more underrepresented than Icelander, I think, in some cases, especially because she's splitting share time with Dash.io. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you saw less Dash IEs than you did Icelanders. And so I can't say she's going to be the meta. And there's no particular place that you have to prepare for her. Like, there's no cards you bring in for Dash IE that you don't bring in, it just...
Well, no, there are. And I think that's why Dash IE is not meta, because people are not going to bring in tons of smashing good times and smashing performances and Imperial Warhorns. There might be a few Imperial Warhorns here and there, but what's funny is it was Dash running, the one Imperial Warhorn I saw was Dash running it.
Okay, with Thomas Dowling's performance last week at calling Melbourne, people are more likely to bring that kind of tech to the World Championships. I mean, that kind of performance cannot be overlooked.
Yeah, but
Item hate tech doesn't really affect Dash.io that much. Like, maybe you snipe a Tekla core. That seems a very difficult thing to pull off reliably, just sniping a Tekla core. And do you actually even hurt the Dash.io by sniping it? Because maybe you spent a card... Like, you spent a card playing Smashing Good Time, and then you didn't even play it out of Arsenal. So you don't even get the +3 to just kill a Tekla core. It's card for a card at that point.
Right. But Dash IE, tell me about the matchups that Dash IE has into the meta. I mean, what is Dash's matchup in Icelander like? I'll admit I don't really know.
Straight good. Like, especially if you were hybrid Dash, Icelander hates it. Because Dash IE just throws these like really consistent like 6s and 5s at you. And then if you disrupt her, she goes, all right, I'll pitch into AB, and if I have anything left over, pow, shoots you with the pistol. And so what is that actually doing? That you're almost doing exactly what Icelander's doing, but almost better, right? Because she's throwing like 8s and stuff at you, but you're also throwing 8s and then eating through her disrupt. So, and then the second she like drops, she doesn't have a good arsenal. Okay, she's like, all right, now you're going to take like 3 zipper hits and 2 gunshots. So take 19 for fun. So traditionally, Icelander has not been dramatically unfavored in the dash, but it hasn't been good because of the high blue count, and just she blocks really well, and she's just got a game plan that can adapt to Icelander on the fly. Dash is just amazing against Bravo.
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to ask.
Yeah,
like
the matchup with Bravo matchup's good too, right?
Yeah, as a Guardian, you sit across from Dash, IE, and go, oh man, I don't want to play 45 minutes just to lose to a gunshot for 4 over and over again. But I think she Dash IE struggles into Dromai. Dromai can survive the onslaught, keep a board state, and if you're throwing cards into her dragons, you're fatiguing yourself.
But she's not the meta, so is it safe to say? Because like,
sounds like she's a great choice for the
Icelander in the Dark Horse, but like, is she? So we're gonna put her grade, or is she just go to like Dark Horse? Okay,
she looks at the top 3 and says, I've got pretty good matchups in the 2 of you. And I don't really, and Dash IE's famous for not really having a bad matchup, right? And she starts having bad matchups if she actually is the meta, because then people start blowing up her induction chambers.
Yeah. Okay. So we can leave her there in the great category, right?
Yeah, I think she's
a great choice for the meta.
And then if like you have your specialist showing up like Merrick, and if Rose tweaks her deck and comes in with some special sauce for the Tree Frog, and then you have Sam Sutherland showing up, the specialists are always just like so impressive on Dash IE.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have
not meta.
Azalea.
We're not going to put Azalea.
That was
okay. So
I was
that's
thinking about.
Now, is she meta?
She
could premeditate is going up.
If I'm not mistaken, right? Recently, did she not?
Yeah. She just won a calling not too long ago too.
I think if let's rearrange this. I think the order of representation at the tournament is going to be Dromai, right? And then Bravo. And then you actually think it might flip?
No. Bravo definitely does not get more shares than so this is what I was having the tough time is, because you got to understand there's a lot of people still trying to like amidst the chaos of this whole Dromai not initially just becoming the greatest deck in all of all the world overnight, which is what everybody thought, right? And then you've got a bunch of people now riding 14-0, right? So you have to really wonder how much Dash IO is going to get represented. Let's be real here. Dash IO it could be 40 people on it. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't think that because of all this, that Bravo, it's definitely not Bravo, but I definitely think that Azalea gets more shares. I see a world where Azalea has more shares than Bravo. I'm serious.
I think Azalea is definitely more than Icelander, because we have all our Lexi refugees, as the card guys were saying. All the Lexi copers are might switch to her because of such a short amount of time. The learning curve is probably much lower, working with a ranger with some similar play lines. However, what does she bring to the game that Bravo doesn't bring? Like, I think Bravo is really who sets that precedent. But unfortunate for you, Noah, if you were going to Worlds, I think the combination of these two make D-Reacts really good in this meta.
Well, so I mean, we're going to talk about it eventually anyway, but that's a problem with Bravo and with Azalea, and that's a problem with, I guess, not really the game, right? But like, that's just how it works. You have two heavy hitters that are in the meta that you know of. I mean, you call Azalea underrepresented or call her not the meta, whatever you want. She's still going to be there. Bravo's still going to be there. So you have at least 2 heroes that you know that are going to try and do massive on hits. So you're going to want to figure out a way to mitigate that. And one of the best ways is
the way I feel about it though is that
up.
Like, Bravo has a big hit like every turn. Sometimes Azalea just misses.
Azalea has gotten so much more consistent lately thanks to Codex.
Yeah,
it is a lot more rare to miss an arrow with Azalea. I like the way this looks now, with Dromai having the highest meta share, then Bravo. Most likely Azalea is next. I don't know if Icelander is actually going to be a large portion of the room, but you have to account for her, so I'm okay with the meta the way it looks there.
All right, let's go on the other side. Who's the one deck we literally think no one will bring to Worlds? There's a chance that there's 0 players.
Wait, 0?
0
Ooh,
players.
Prism.
I agree. I think Prism will be the one deck that has 0 players.
Or Tekla. It's either Prism or Tekla. The way Tekla Vossen has been performing on Talishar, there's just oh man.
There's Prism, like there's stands though. Like there's just no way nobody shows up without Prism. Like I'm sorry, especially because there's somebody who's gonna be like, I found it. No, I'm serious. So you have a better chance of there's being 0 Teklas than you do 0 Prisms. Okay, I'm sorry.
So you think it'll be Tekla Vossen?
Prism has. Have you guys seen Prism recently? Have you seen the cards? Have you seen all the art, the angels?
I mean, they're beautiful, sure. But
have you seen that playmat with Fiona and Prism? Have you seen the idea that people want to play?
Have you seen all of the classes that completely dumpster every game plan she has because she doesn't have a consistent way to apply
those cards stay so valuable. It's crazy to me.
If you bring Prism to the World's meta, knowing that Dromai is going to be the most popular deck in the room, you deserve to lose.
Yeah. Also, Dromai just directly counters her, and you're likely to see Dromai in round 1.
Maybe how? You just dodge them all.
If you are playing Prism at the World Championship, you are telling your opponent, "Beat me so I can go play side events."
Let's rewind. Let's rewind. Who are you dodging, and who are you hitting with Prism? Like, who are you voting?
That's the question. What are you answering?
Other Prisms?
Dodge those Dromais, right? And play up against all the other.
I guess you have a good matchup versus Azalea.
Or a ninja. Yeah. You don't want to see the ninjas either.
But no, Azalea is pretty good because she doesn't have a lot of attacks. She can't, you can catch her off with Spectra. Ward is actually good against Azalea. But I think is that what you're hoping for? That you're like, oh, I'm praying on.
What about Dash.io? Dash.io versus Prism any good?
No. Free gunshots means you never keep anything on the field, and sometimes you just die because you start at 32 health and you don't have armor. You can't block anything.
Prism has beautiful cards.
I understand that Prism has a decent Icelander matchup though, right?
I guess maybe. Ward is pretty good against arcane damage.
I mean, that's what I've heard was the tradition.
All right.
I have not actually practiced
actually, if you think about it, it seems fine, right? Because you throw a big herald in, right? And they go, okay, I pop it, and then you phantasmal footsteps and you throw another one. If they don't have disruption, you're getting an angel. And once you get an angel, you can kind of make a lot of plays in the game potentially. So the ward. Because you just completely ignore either Ice Vein while you have an angel out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not going to happen. I think there might be a chance that we see 0 Prisms register a deck.
And 0 Teklas too.
Not a chance.
Anyone else in the probably 0 and X?
Yeah. I mean, just put the obvious. I mean,
is it Arachne?
Oh no! Stop selling him so short. Can't we at least just make him not great? He gets so much hate.
Well, he doesn't really target anything in the meta.
He's not even that bad.
He doesn't target anything.
But, yes, he does. Yeah, he targets any deck that abuses
in the meta.
Top deck. Azalea.
In the meta, which one?
Azalea.
Azalea, yes.
Azalea.
Okay. So you've got
I even think in what he can target Bravo.
Wait, does he target Azalea?
Yeah, he likes to bottom deck and
the assassins dumpster the Rangers. That's just
I don't necessarily agree. I think Azalea, you just ignore what he's doing and you just
Lexi's worst matchup.
You just death deal. But yeah, that's Azalea. You don't have to end your turn with an arsenal. You could just death dealer something in off the top, off of some effect, and then just shoot a giant dominated arrow in Arachne's face and goes, oh no, I take a bunch of damage. Now I'm going to throw my damage back at you, and it's going to be 8 at most when I just took 16.
Arachne's only ever thrown 1 card. It's a 0 for 4. He's going to plunder run off of it. He's going to make it an awkward break point. He's just going to contract the card off the top. That's all he wants. All he wants is just speed. But if you speed the threat density off of Azalea fast enough, you just fatigue her even faster.
You literally can't. You're not fatiguing Azalea's Arachne. Not with Dominate. anyway, like I guess if you go with like specifically that this really D-react heavy Arachne, but then you just lose to even more stuff. I don't think he deserves to be not great. I think Azuri deserves to be not great.
No, Azuri's a dark horse. After winning a calling,
who is she targeting? Azalea is not enough of the meta to target. She straight up loses to Dromai. Bravo is rough, and I think she straight up loses to Icelander.
I don't know if Dash IO in the meta, and we can start talking about who she's targeting.
So here's what you go with Azuri. You go, okay, I'm going to threaten your arsenal. Icelander goes, okay, well, here's my arsenal. Like,
yeah.
I think this. Right. I think she sits in the not great. And just to clarify, not great doesn't mean that they're not going to be successful at all. That just means they don't really have great targets. They struggle against it like 2 or 3, 4 in the meta, and that doesn't mean a pilot can't come in and just do crazy things with them, because Azuri is a very, very skill expressive hero.
We each get a dark horse. Put
this is your choice. You're not going to choose. Yeah. You're not going to choose Dorinthia for your dark horse.
No, I'm not that crazy.
Okay. All right.
I know Dorinthia can sit in the not great tier where she belongs. It's fine.
Who's another one we think is great? We kind of evened up now. Or maybe someone who goes in the not great.
Not great. It's got to be Reinar.
You think Reinar is not great?
No, I think Reinar is great.
Oh, great. I think Reinar's great too. I think he's on the edge of meta.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't think he's going to take up a large portion of the room.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a good Dromai matchup. He's got a decent Bravo matchup, right?
Yeah.
The matchup into Icelander is
good.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And
and he's good against I think Azalea is, it's probably okay because you do run D-reacts and Reinar naturally most of the time. They're in the sideboard. He's got a pretty open sideboard because most of his cards kind of actually suck. But and he's good against Dash. Dash struggles against him. Good.
Probably good against Dash IO as well.
Depends on how tanky he is. Otherwise, it just turns into like an aggro matchup where they unga-bunga each other.
Well, the way the builds have been looking lately, I would think that you're going to see more tanky Reinars coming to Worlds.
God, man. Watching that dominated Max V get blocked for 12. That was so cool. I couldn't cheer for one or the other. You know, I love Dash IO, but I also just love Brute. And watching the Reinar pick apart that Dash IO was hilarious.
Reinhardt on by design just has really, it just creates really great matchups. I mean, I'm going to be real. Intimidates a heck of.
He's good at closing out games. So if he can make you make bad decisions because of his random intimidates here and there, and also every hero has 2 less life against him because you don't go to 2 against Reinar. It's terrifying. Every attack you throw, you're like, is this where I die?
Yeah, Reckless Swings.
Yep, Reckless Swing is a really good card. It's so good in Reinar and so kind of meh in Levi.
Because we have Mr. Randall Sims in our local meta, back when he was playing Reinar a lot, I died to Reckless Swing so many times.
Did he make you sign it?
No, I haven't had to sign one yet, but I did lose to it on several different occasions, playing several different heroes. So that it's painful. Reinar's actually in a really good spot right now, I think.
All right, so who sits in our not great section? I think our not great section is Kano.
Yeah, I think Kano's a fair one for the idea of not great, right? Because here's what I assume not great, right? Not great is that middle of the pack where it's just the way you say not great. Can they win? Absolutely, but they're just not. They're not
really targeting anything, and they have some clear weaknesses, right?
Yeah, they got to go through all these bad matchups to get to the top.
Kano has a weakness in it itself, just with consistency and
let's be real. If Icelander wasn't here, I think he'd actually almost be in great because people are going to disrespect him. But since Icelander's still here and people are kind of viewing her as a real force, and the worst thing that could have happened to Kano was her winning the most recent Battle Harden. Everyone's let's not forget AB3. Kano loses some space. Not great. But we've seen Kanos do crazy stuff before and have runs all the way through, and anyone who could deal 50 damage in one turn can win tournaments.
Okay, so you want to know another not great hero for the meta, for the world's meta? Katsu.
I was wondering if you were going to put it in there.
So why is Katsu not great?
My soul. It hurts my soul to say that. But the Bravo matchup is rough. The Azalea matchup is 50-50 at best, and that is being generous. The Icelander matchup is atrocious, and Dromai is yes.
Is it because of Channel Lake Frigid? Like
it's because of anything ice. Katsu is allergic to frostbites. It's bad news when you're on such a tight resource curve. I mean, you have moments where you can go very wide, but it is very hard to fight through the disruption and have a relevant turn because Katsu operates on such a tight resource curve. I mean, one frostbite can sometimes just stop the turn. Right. It's the difference between a 33 damage turn and a 10 damage turn.
Yeah, because if you have a frostbite and you want to break your chest, now you have to pay a resource to break your chest. Yeah,
and you have to pitch away one of your pieces you're just planning on playing.
So for the Katsu's,
matchup into Dromai is decent, but it is not favored. I don't care what anybody tells you. If anybody out there is saying that they are a ninja player that has a super favorable matchup into Dromai, they are not playing the match. They are not playing against good Dromais. That is just not where it's at right now.
I think if I were a Katsu player, though, that's what I would lean into. I would lean into my tech being very good against Bravo and Dromai and kind of literally ignore everything else and hope you just high roll.
Your matchup into Bravo is not good. As Katsu, Bravo is probably your worst matchup right now.
You know, it's actually funny now, and I want to talk about this, and this is stuff that we can talk about later in the comments or whatever, because I've heard this, and then I've heard the opposite, and I've heard that Ninja's actually great in a Guardian.
Yeah, I hear it back and forth.
Yesterday,
I might have a decent matchup in Bravo.
On the card guys, they were talking about it too, saying
you can only block so many Kadachis.
You can only block so many. Yeah, like armor only does so much. But I'm just being real. I mean, like I can't remember exactly who they're saying, but Bravo not so good in Akatsu, whatever, right? But then I talked to people locally, and I talked to Michael, who played Bravo in CC on local at our armory on Fridays, and he told me, I was like, oh, how'd the game go? You played him, correct? Donnie, you played against Michael on Friday Armory.
Yeah.
And so like he comes over and he's watching me literally make a Riptide cry, which is what we're gonna. I love that guy, by the way, and I'm so sorry. I know it wasn't the game that he sat down to play, but you're not gonna sit with Riptide against me as Dorinthi and expect me not to just swing my sword. Yeah, like I'm sorry. I'm welcome to Flesh and Blood. And LSS is why the design type of that hero is just atrocious. But we'll get to that. But like he came over and I was like, well, how'd the Katsu game go? And he goes, wasn't even close. And I said, really? I said, I figured Katsu pretty. He said, let's be real. He said, I've never lost a game against Katsu in my life. And I said, whoa. I said, okay. But he does play a very fatigue style Bravo. And so, I have to wonder if you're a more aggressive Bravo, you might end up struggling against Ninja because you're having that game plan in mind where the wide will catch you eventually. But that guy does play very heavily on the defensive side, which Bravo can do very well. And so it might just be whichever way the Bravo leans. And I know that this works the same way with Dorinthia. If my Bravo is a very defensive Bravo, like the chances of winning just keep going lower and lower the more D reacts and the more defensive it is. If it's more of a high speed Bravo, we're going back up to the 50-50, whatever, 45-55 range. But so I can understand it.
The more mid-range Bravo is a harder matchup for Katsu, the more aggressive they are. I actually found the matchup a little easier because I'm more prepared for that version. But the Phi matchup into Bravo is better if they're more fatigue style.
Well, let's just jump straight into Phi. How do we feel about Phi?
He's a great choice.
I still put him as not great. And the reason is because you still have Icelander attacks, and I actually don't know how Phi deals with how does Phi deal with Azalea? I mean, like, is that do they speak together well?
My opinion is that he actually has a decent fridge, and surprisingly, he has a decent fridge. He blocks one arrow from Azalea that he needs to block, and then he proceeds to deal her 30 damage in one turn, just like the matchup with Dash.io. You just bide your time, poke here and there, see if the Azalea blocks or doesn't, and then kill her in 1 to 2 turns.
You get access to Warmongers, right? Which instantly throws Azalea on an off turn, and so you like, I guess it seems to me like one of those matchups where the Azalea opens up fat area you can't block with 8 on hits, and Fi just goes, that's it, game's over. Because how do you recover tempo when you literally have no turn on your turn pretty much because of all the on hits? You won't be able to arsenal to go up to 5 cards. Like, I don't know.
You can only do that 6 times. If you manage to hit all 6 of them, you can do that 6 times. So you've got your 3 red and ledgers that you could set up in whatever way. Sometimes you don't even get to give them dominate. And then you have your Codex frailties. If you're running Memorial Grounds, you're taking a risk of just losing because you have a yellow non-blocks in your deck. So I don't like
gets on that high roll. Azalea is going to beat everybody in the game anyway.
Other than Bravo.
I mean, well, it's a 50-50 there.
Bravo.
If you are...
No. I don't think it is. What are you hitting Bravo with that you're not just going to get hit with a crippling crush for 11? Like, oh, you red and ledger me. Fair. I guess I'm just throwing 11 at you. See ya.
Okay, that's fair. Bravo has a very fair matchup into Azalea, but that's... I mean, but either way,
I think Azalea's unfavored in Bravo.
Fi gets taxed from Icelander though. Still, like I mean,
man, I miss Belittle so much.
I don't know.
So you think he's not great just because of the Icelander presence?
I think he's not great for the other presence as well. I mean, like I just don't think I don't think it's the time yet for Fi. I don't know.
So I guess this is just not a meta for Ninja.
I don't know about that. I mean, like I said, if Bravo is acting more fatiguey, then Fi has a better shot. And while the Dromai matchup isn't super favored, it is slightly favored in Fi's favor. I would give it a 55-45. I mean, Azalea can lose, but that's a variance thing.
By the way, Kadachi Phoenix Flame is a really good way to clear dragons.
Yeah, and the
put them up there.
You have to do a little bit something. You have to do something a little complex than that to get the Phoenix Flame back.
But I think the fact you have okay matchups in the 3.
I don't think Icelander is going to be a big enough presence to knock Fi down a tier. I think Fi is going to be a great choice for the meta.
And what does defensive Reinhardt do against Fi? I think he just gets flat. Yeah,
just
like
lose.
I was gonna say, Brute's matchup in a Ninja on paper is not very again.
Katsu is okay because he could put on Scowling Fleshbag and go aggro, and hopefully he blocks a combo turn. But like usually you don't hurt Fi that much with the Scowling Fleshbag. It's literally like you put him off 1 turn, and that card's coming back at you the next turn anyway. I think Fi deserves to be in the great. I think if you like aggro and you want something that's very consistent, Fi is your choice. We could talk about the true aggro hero, in my opinion. I think Dash.io is just clearly great. Like, she's the most explosive aggro deck in the format right now.
Well, she's completely unpredictable too. But again, it's not like a deck where you can just say, oh, okay, well, if it's this combination of 5 cards, I know what to do.
Every 4 breakpoint coming at you, like in your brain, has a boom grenade attached to it. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if she's actually a great choice, because once Thomas put her on the map in Melbourne, it seems like she's got a target on her back. And since she's got that target, everybody is more conscious of how they're blocking and what she's actually doing.
So the reason I would put her up there is I think she just auto wins Dromai. It takes a very talented Dromai player to do really well, because the Dromai player has to almost out aggro them, because Dromai doesn't have very good ways to interact with arsenals, and Kyloria isn't that impactful to her. So it's like you throw Command and Conquer on a critical turn, that's how you could win. But otherwise, she's just going to run you down. She doesn't care about Tolmatai either. So like your big disruptive cards, a lot of them she doesn't care about. She can clear your board really easily. She's got lots of attacks and she gets lots of gunshots. Bravo is hard. And if the Bravo comes in super fatiguey, it can be very challenging. I think Azalea's 50-50, if not very slightly favored into Dash.io. Very slight. And I think the Icelander meta, the Icelander matchup is slightly Dash.io favored as well, for the same reason that it's Dash favored. you're kind of doing the same thing. You're just hucking a bunch of attacks in her face, and then shooting the gun once. So I think she just has good options into the meta. And then she's one of those heroes that she could high roll anybody. She could be any deck, kind of like Kano can.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was like. You don't look at the 4 cards, 5 cards, whatever they're playing, and like I said, you can just spell out what the dash is going to do because you don't know how they're going to interact. I mean, what items on top, what 4 cards, what's in the grave, is it pack protocol red? Does he get to 3 boosts and somehow pull the max V back? You know, is there a tome in art? It's like there's so many lines that you never get to call it out. Where as all the like, there's other aggro decks which it's it's semi predictable, right? 4 cards. Okay, what's the worst 4 cards Fly can throw at me in sequence? You know what I mean? Like you can count that day. So I think for that reason, Dash becomes this unpredictable powerhouse, but also it rewards a lot of reps and a lot of time spent playing it. And I think it's going to be one of those decks. And we're going to see this, by the way, with the price drops, where everybody jumped onto it, realized that, I'm serious. I can't just throw my hand at them and win. That's what, and this is what I tell you with this, I don't like doing this to Lexi, but I'm going to keep doing it. Like, it's not going to be Lexi. I'm serious. It's not going to be a deck where you pick up and you're like, I play my arrows and I do my, it's not going to work. Like you need more practice than the last dive. 2 weeks. And so I think she's a great deck, and I think that's the hidden potentiality is there for that deck. 100% great.
If you weren't already practicing it before calling Milburn, I don't think you have time to get enough reps unless you were like literally just living and breathing Dash IO.
She starts at 36. She's got a bunch of no blocks. You have to figure, like, why am I pitching this if I'm pitching this? You get a handful of items late game, you're dead. It takes way too much time to play a hero well, but great hero. But that's right. What's going to keep it.
Where's Dory, Noah?
She's not great. I mean, she's not great for the simple fact that, and I mean, Josh said the same thing, but I mean, let's be real. The 4 heroes in the top require different sideboard targets. And so if I want to target Bravo and Azalea, I have to go completely like defensive, play second cycle, make sure I'm literally sitting on shunts galore. In most cases, I physically can't block with the crown and the gloves until I've blocked out 2 dominated 11s or like whatever the math is from Bravo. Like there's like a special thing. You have to keep shunt plus 2-piece armor to make sure that you don't get hit by Starstrucks or you like, whatever, all the crush effects off the dominate. And so you run that, and then what do you do against Dromai? Well, Dromai, you get punished for having a bunch of D-reacts per se because you're not applying enough pressure. You need more go again. You need remembrance. You need to take, I don't know. And then Icelander, that's so many red cards that you're going to get punished for having Blizz.
I think she has sideboard cards. I think this meta is just very toxic for her because you've got a couple heroes that really like running lots of defense, which is like Dromai and Bravo. So even when you try to push in on the Dromai, she might just block you out. Yeah, and then you were farming dragons and she managed to keep a good board state anyway. Or she just threw the nuts and she just aggroed into you super hard, and then you start low life. I think Azalea your favorite, right? You just bide your time and go in with a really big turn.
Azalea, I would say if you play it the normal Dory way, where it's not a fatigue thing, you show up Dawnblade, you block 1 turn with your full fridge of relevant on hits, and you go for that slam dunk turn where you're just going to take tempo and you're on 2 counters or whatever, then Azalea never gets.
I think this is like a very skill intensive matchup, right?
I've had some amazing Azalea v Dory games. I've had some where it's completely one-sided, and I have literally countered my opponent out on 3 turns of just raw damage, but the same can happen to me where I just,
Right. I don't know. Donnie, are any of the rune blades playable?
I don't know if they'll go 0 and X, but I don't think they're gonna do very well, at all. Just in general, as a power level thing, Viserai had a decent matchup into Dromai back when he had the Rosetta Thorn. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that matchup is still the same because I haven't touched the Rune Blades in a while. Vincent, I love Vincent. I love the flavor of Vincent and everything about the character and the lore, but I don't think she's there power-wise for anyone to be willing to bring her to the World Championship. So, yeah, I think the Rune Blades probably belong in that bottom tier.
Right. Okay.
I would agree.
Let's pick another dark horse. I mean, what do we got left?
Okay.
We've got Leviah,
My dark
Mac,
horse is Leviah.
Riptide, and Bolton left.
I think if Reinar is strong, a good pilot on Leviah is strong for the same reason, except Leviah does more damage. Leviah has great matchups. Leviah has great matchups into Dromai, especially since Dromais are usually pretty lean on Lost in Thought. If you don't run Lost in Thought, there's literally not a card in your deck that Leviah is afraid of. Not a single one. Then she's just got a great matchup into Bravo. She could block out a lot of his stuff with her, like she's got the largest fridge in the game. And then she can take games super long. She can out aggro Azalea, and Azalea hits her with Red Ledger, and you go, haha, take 9.
Are you running Grasp of Darkness against Bravo?
Yeah. No, I would personally probably roll dice.
So you're running Gambler Scab, so you're gonna lose the 2 block.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you
still have a 11 fridge because you have 3 on the boots, 2 and 1, and then 2 from the helm and 6 from husk.
And you're usually rocking against Bravo. A lot of people bring in 2 Guardians of the Shadow Realm, which it's a huge card.
I think Leviah being able to recur that D-reactive.
The reason is like, yeah, you've got non-blocks in the deck, but what you kind of do is you go, okay, I'll just block with my 3 block cards and then arsenal the non-block and then block again and then play it next turn. And you build up this like massive graveyard, and then you start a recursion engine with like Howl from Beyond and Deep-Rooted Evil. It almost plays like you're playing Dash, right? Except your cards are coming out of the banished zone instead of being on the board. And then Icelander is just solid. You don't have a ton of blues, but you're presenting like really consistent 12 card damage. And because most people are going to be on Bullander, she's getting really low value out of those attacks right off the bat, because you go, okay, at some point I'm going to cash in this fridge for literally like 10 health. And it'll be efficient too, because it's a 6 and a 2. I block your Wounded Bull out. So that's my dark horse. I think she's fantastic. And I'll be rooting for Mansent because I can almost guarantee he's going to take Leviah to Worlds.
It wouldn't surprise me.
He's not going to miss an opportunity to possibly win it for her.
Quick, just throw Riptide in the probably 0 and X for the.
You think so?
Any hero that literally has a weapon. If you have a weapon, okay, I'm gonna give you this hot secret. If you have a weapon that swings, okay. If it gives it natural go again, though, you're gonna want to be careful about that. So your Kodachis might be a little wonky. You just swing, and then you pass the turn. And
what about
you
like
do that,
Dreadbore and Death Dealer? Like those are still good
bullseye
weapons.
Bracers are a thing. They are back in the meta, so I mean he does have a little bit more power.
I guess my feeling is why would you play him when you could play Azalea?
Exactly.
True.
If you're going all power, then you're not taking advantage of the Riptide traps, and you're not getting the chip damage, and you're going to lose because you're a worse ranger. Let's be real here. There's no Twin Horizons. There's nothing that's going to. Are New Horizons. People have been running New Horizons Riptide all the time. It's really cute. It's fun. I get it. It's really great. It loses to the ability for me to swing and then pass my turn. I promise you. If you have too many traps and I do that to you, I win. If you don't have too many traps, you lose, because then you're not you can't stop. I'm serious. No, he's not.
New Horizons plus Trench, and you can just bottom an extra useless trap, keep 1 in the arsenal, just fire your arrows out of the other slot. I mean, that doesn't sound so bad.
I purposely took cards out of my deck, and granted, I'm Dory. I still fatigue Riptide with a plenty of cards.
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 left.
Yeah. Bolton. I think he's better than Dory in this meta, but I don't know if it's enough to put him into great.
I think Bolton's definitely the more playable option, I think. And the only reason, but
Raiden creates a ton of value. Raiden is a fantastic weapon.
Bolton just can't operate though in an Icelander. If the meta existed, it's just so crazy. Like again.
So yeah, I think he goes from okay to
Icelander
like down here
wasn't in the meta at all. He'd be a great deck. I'd throw him all the way at the top and tell him time to play Bolton. You can do whatever you want now, Bolton's, because he plays fine in everybody else. And combo Bolton doesn't care about any amount of armor or anything, so it really doesn't matter.
All right.
They're so.
Before we talk about the very last hero, is there someone you wanted to promote to Dark Horse? Donnie, are you happy with this so far?
No, actually, the last hero is going to be my dark horse.
Heck
I
yeah.
like that, actually.
I'm glad you took that, because I almost wanted 2 dark horses. I think Max does a lot of what Reinhardt does, right?
Yeah.
He bides his time.
Yeah, I mean, he blocks really well. The construct is an incredible card once it comes online, and Max actually has the capability of consistently bringing the Nitro Mechanoid online. So if he can get the right setup, I think Max could go all the way.
I think he could run pretty tanky too. So he can like just block as well as he can against Bravo and swing back with just decent hits. I feel like if I were an Icelander and I sat across from Max, I would think to myself, oh no, this is probably going to be miserable, because this dude's just going to swing 6 at me over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the Bravo matchup goes, but I feel like he'd probably be decent into Azalea and probably good into Icelander. I mean, I really think Max has a good shot.
I think this is a pretty cool looking tier list, because the rows are pretty even. I think it's unfortunate seeing so many new heroes down at the bottom.
Well, let's read through it. In the meta, we think Dromai is going to be the most represented. Bravo is going to be right behind her. Then Azalea and Icelander is going to have some portion of the metagame to where you have to respect her.
And I'm guessing this is going to be 40% of our meta will be these 4 heroes, right? I think it's going to be like 10, 10, 5, 5. Or no, 15, 15, 5, 5. 15, 15, 5, 5. Somewhere around there. That's my guess.
I'd give it 50%. I'd give it 50%.
You think 50% will be these 4?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Those 4, man. If Dash IO is included, I'm serious. I just don't think. I think people really think that hero, the 14. Oh,
I think people have been jamming it since calling Melbourne, and they said, yes, we see this hero is clearly good, but she's very hard to pilot. And
for sure.
They're gonna see that like thing where they go, oh no, I got all items, I'm not playing this hero. Same reason, like I think Levia's pretty good, but a lot of people go, oh no, I died to Blood Debt one time, never again.
Yep. So great choices that we think are going to go into that meta. We've got Dash Inventor Extraordinaire, Dash IO, Rhinar Reckless Rampage, and Phi Rising Rebellion. Is there anybody else that we think would be a great choice into the meta?
I think that like covers it. I think like those 8 heroes are going to be what we see.
I've had a change of heart. I think you gotta put Dorinthia up there. Just
I think are you trolling or do you want to sell us on
100%? I'm not gonna sell anybody on that. I can't even sell myself on that.
She's never a bad hero, but I just think that the top 4 are like you got so many game plans you have to like balance.
No, I'm serious. That's seriously what it is.
It's too many game plans. You don't have enough sideboard slots.
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll win Worlds though. That's my
Okay. Maybe somebody will bring Dory, and Noah says Dory is going to win Worlds. Heard.
Josh will sigh off everyone thinking he's bringing Bolt and show up with Dory and actually take it. Yep, here we go.
All right, so we think the not great choices for the meta are Kano, Drakaya Visor, Katsu, the Wanderer, Sir Bolton, Breaker of Dawn, and Dorinthia Ironsong are not great choices into the World's meta.
Heard that pained you when you said it.
It hurts. I love my boy. I love Katsu, but you just got to be real right now.
And not great doesn't mean unplayable.
Choice.
This means probably will not be successful, no matter how well you play.
If
you need good matchups,
Katsu player goes to the World Championship and is playing Katsu at the World Championship, I'm going to be rooting for you, buddy. But I don't see it.
How do you know you're not the world's best Katsu player? You're gonna.
I know for sure I'm not.
You're gonna set it down.
I know for sure I'm not. I went 3-0 on Tuesday, XO on Friday, bro. I'm not the world's best Katsu. It is what it is.
I think I don't know. I wouldn't retire him just yet.
So dark horses.
Uzuri Switchblade, Levia Shadowborn Abomination, and Max the Hype Nitro.
And these are all heroes that we think could cause a potential upset.
Yeah.
You'll see there'll be like a couple of them, and then somehow one of them's in day 2 and doing really well. And then
I see
our probably 0 and X, or as the card guys said, pay for your PTI and troll round
The
1.
troll. I'm here to play side events tier.
Yeah.
We've got Prism, the she's sculptor of Arclight.
Yeah.
Or is that
Oh
the
no,
original
this is Prism Advent of
No,
Thrones, right?
one?
Or is that
Advent
the
of
young
Thrones
one?
That's the young one. I think this
Okay.
is sculptor. I think this is the sculptor. I don't remember.
She's
Prism
got,
sucks.
she's got too many names, man.
Prism sucks.
It's
Prism, the
That's
bad
all it
one.
is. Yeah, the bad Prism.
the bad, the non what you call it.
The Luminaris is banned Prism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teklevossen, esteemed magnate. Then we've got Arachne Huntsman, Viserai Runeblood, Vincent Iron Maiden, who has the baddest name in the entire game. I don't care what other hero you put up against her. And Riptide, Lurker of the Deep.
I think
What do you
this
mean bad?
I think this set of heroes
It's freaking
are
awesome.
particularly in no
Bad
particular
to the bone.
order.
I love her name.
Yeah, I think the set of heroes are particularly in no particular order. I think
Mm.
Runeblades are particularly weak right now.
Yeah,
Because
unfortunately.
they teeter on insanity if you give
Yeah,
them
they
too
do.
much.
Um,
Don't worry, Riptide eventually will have his day.
Riptide
They'll-
would probably be the top of this list because the arrows that came in are outsiders. They're good attacks. They're just good attacks. But
He's
and then Arachne second, which is hilarious, and then
Yeah.
Vincent immediately after that because Vincent can take
Agreed.
games.
She can.
Riptide's gonna be like the king of mid range one of these days. They just need to figure it out because he has a really
Okay.
bad design.
And I
for
want to
kick.
put Prism at the very bottom of the bottom tier.
Oh, she'll be alright
Yeah,
soon.
Prism can like become an honorary living legend because people literally aren't playing her. She might as well be, right?
Oh yeah. That'd be
Okay,
great.
so that's the end of our tier list. I think the only point we wanted to maybe bring up before we wrap things up is we have Skirmish starting this weekend.
Yep.
Kind of hate it because I am going to an event and Worlds will be on at the same time, and I'm going to be like trying to balance knowing what's going on in Worlds.
It'll be day 2. It'll be day 2. It'll be fine.
But
none of the big things will happen until later on in the day anyway.
yeah, I'm scumbagging it and bringing Chain. He's going to LL this weekend, so we're going to play Chain and try to get us a cold foil Tekla core.
You got to do what you got to do.
Did you put your deck together yet, Noah? What are you bringing?
If I play, there's a big if here.
Are you just going to last
Okay.
minute just like put a Dory together and be like, I just took one card out of each card?
It might be Dory, and I might then tell everybody you all forced me to play this. No,
Yeah.
I mean, in reality, I
expect
want to play Benji, I want to play Arachne, but I just don't know if I'll have time to put together anything that makes sense. I mean, I want to play Ira as well, but I just don't know how Ira beats Shane. And I know that there's 2 people
You
on
just
Shane,
can.
and so I
It's
either
aggro.
have to, I don't know. I have to go knowing that I have to play against that, and so it's mentally ruining me right now because I don't want to just bring something that beats that because then I'll feel sad.
Are you going to be there Saturday, Donnie?
I think I talked myself into it today. I think I'm gonna go, and I'm either gonna play Uzuri or I'm gonna play Vincent.
Okay.
Just build them both in case I want to borrow one because I might show up and literally tell you I'm stuck with playing Dory, and then some guy's gonna sit across from me and shuffle up their deck. Go, oh boy, who are you playing? I go, Dorinthia, ready for this? Dominate, turn 1.
And then on turn 2, they go 8 rune chants and eat a card out of your hand and out of your arsenal.
Look, they might, and I
How you
might
let
be
you
the
know.
one. But I'm just saying.
Swing for lethal immediately. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's our show for this week. So
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week. Man, I can't talk. Sorry about that. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow, depending on where you found us, to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourself, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
bye, everyone,
That's
and
right.
good luck at Worlds.
Just cards,
Best of luck
cards.
to you.
Do it. You got pummeled.
Yeah, make sure you do your pummel triggers at Worlds.